First of all, Susday and Songswakum, good afternoon, Excellencies, distinguished guests, guest speakers, of course, and members, students who are all participating in this afternoon conference. Welcome to EuroCham-GreenCap 2021 Digital Youth Conference. My name is Kaiket Ratana. I'm the Events and Membership Managers at EuroCham Cambodia, and I have the great honor to be your host in today's conference session. And also welcome you to day one of EuroCham-GreenCap Youth Conference. Actually, this conference is organized in partnership between EuroCham and GreenCaps, the Erasmus Plus project, which aim to raise the awareness about the opportunities within the green job market and also the importance of SDGs. We also would like to use this conference as a dialogue on employment, social and environmental sustainability among Cambodian university students, fresh graduate, development partners, as well as among the private sectors. I would like to also take this opportunities to thanks once again GreenCap for the collaborations, and thanks to UNIDO and UNDP for the co-partners, and thanks to our media partner Khmer Time in supporting in the organization of this conference. Without any further delay, I would like to quickly jump into today's conference agenda. So we'll start with an introductions to the conference. Later on, we will also have a keynote presentations and panel discussion on future green job markets, where our guest expert will discuss further in depth on the topic.
So welcome all. So as Ratanak was saying, we will start with the introduction to all welcome you to this conference. This will be followed by a panel presentation where we will talk about the job market and make you better understand green jobs and their opportunities for sustainable development, but also for your careers. After that, we will be animating a short game, interactive game. So I hope you're all ready for that. It will be, of course, about the job market and, of course, about environment. Then after that, we will have the pleasure to have Mr. Narath, who will give us, a pep talk about, as a student, how to grow, how to have the right mindsets, to start your career. And then we will have the honor to have inspiring guests.
It's too quick.
To have inspiring guests that you know, will share their journey, will share their experience, their mistakes, and you know, just you know, their professional parkour, and then that will be the closing session for today. So I see that Ratanak is back. I don't know if you want to take it over again.
Sure. And so sorry, I didn't know that I was cut off, and so sorry for this. So I guess my Liz has already mentioned a lot, so I will just to check that you can see my screen, right? Okay.
Yes, we can see your screen. I guess that for those who are not familiar with Teams, he just wanted to explain a little bit, you know, how you can see the different participants. If you have questions or if you want to interact, there is a chat option on top of the screen. And then if you just want to, you know, share some positivity or you agree with something that is said, this wonderful app has different emoticons, so you can use them as well. And then the most important part is that whenever you are not speaking, to make sure that we don't have background noise, please, you know, turn off your mics. Make sure that your mics are turned off.
Right, I shall. Hello, everyone. Dear organizers, dear partners, dear participants. We at EuroCham Cambodia are very pleased to welcome you all to this first interactive digital youth conference, which we have the honor to organize in collaboration with the EuroCham-GreenCap and Erasmus Plus project. It's designed for high school and university students and young professionals to learn more about the importance of and the opportunities in the green job market for innovative and future-proof career development and to support sustainable development goals of the country. We certainly all know that as traditional industries are already transitioning towards a more sustainable approach of doing business, new opportunities arise that are related to the global mission of the coming century. To innovate energy creation and consumption, to reduce CO2, and to create more opportunities that help to increase sustainability of economies and societies for the benefit of our, but mostly for coming generations. As Cambodia's leading business association, EuroCham's mission is to represent our members and European business interests in dialogue with the Royal Government of Cambodia, development partners and business leaders with the aim of developing a more competitive, innovative and sustainable business and investment environment here in the Kingdom. Given that such future-proof growth in Cambodia will be driven by today's young professionals and students, or you, it is crucial to ensure that they gain a better understanding of the green job market while building their individual career path. We decided to create this digital interactive space of formal and interactive sessions to share as much as possible with the audience on the huge growth opportunities in green business, sustainable development and related professions. You will be surprised how much opportunity there is. For the 2 coming days, all participants will have the opportunity to exchange views with topics such as gender equality, digitalization, entrepreneurship, and the most pressing issues surrounding climate change. The conference will both reflect Cambodian and European perspectives, as the speakers are based in Phnom Penh, Battambang, and various European countries such as France, Denmark, and Italy. Among the keynote speakers here today and tomorrow are Mr. SOK Narin, the country representative of UNIDO, His Excellency Mr. Kim Vera, Deputy Secretary General of the National Committee for SCAP, Mr. Virak Noon, Project Manager specialized in youth development and employment at UNDP Cambodia, and Ms. Smita Nakoda, SDG Focal Strategy, Policy and Partnership Department of the Asian Development Bank. After this 2-day conference, for 2 more weeks, all participants will be able to use the platform to network and engage with experts, mentors, and companies through direct messaging, one-on-one video meetings, and multimedia sources through the website and mobile application. Those looking for a job will be given access to a virtual job market, enabling them to directly contact hiring companies for additional information and schedule interviews. The platform is also open for companies and organizations looking for new talents who can upload their job positions and scroll through the profiles and CVs of job seekers. I would very much hope that you will share this event with your peers in your universities and high schools today and tomorrow, and that we can attract as many as possible of you future leaders in Cambodian society to work with us on this conference and on similar initiatives. In this context, please also check out our CSR Awards for 2021 on our website, which explicitly invites members from within your group to participate in and share their vision for socially responsible activity in Cambodia. I would very much like to thank the European Union for being part of this conference, our institutional partners, the hiring companies, professors, students, and last but not least, our partner GreenCap. I wish you a very, very successful conference and hope that we can all learn something from it and grow ourselves. And now invite Mr. I don't know if Mr. Fonari is ready yet. If not, I pass on to Mr. Lionel LEMIALE, who's based in Nantes and who is the international coordinator of the GreenCap project, to take the stage. Thank you very much. Have a good day and good days and good 2 weeks.
Hello, this is my turn. Okay. Hello, everybody. Good morning from France. I am Lionel LEMIALE from GreenCap project. I am very happy to introduce this EuroCham-GreenCap 2021 Youth Conference. This conference is a result, as it was said, of a partnership between EuroCham and the GreenCap project. GreenCap is a capacity building project in the field of higher education, co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program of the European Union. The consortium is composed of 3 European universities and 4 Cambodian universities. GreenCap project supports Cambodia's pathway towards green growth and sustainable development by promoting adaptation of higher education institutions to sustainable development needs. GreenCap project is based on 2 main pillars: increasing awareness of green business among students, improving students' employability for existing and future green jobs. I should point out that this conference could not have taken place without the work of Lisbeth Toto and her team from EuroCham Cambodia. I would also warmly thank my GreenCap project team, Laurent Messman, Sokun Tili, and Ria Deniska for their work. COVID-19 crisis have impacted severely social and economic situation in Cambodia as it does worldwide. This crisis has particularly affected younger generation by school and university closure and reduced opportunities in a competitive job market. We then need to recreate, innovate, and boost links between young generation and world of work. This crisis also revealed a connection between socioeconomic development and environment. Economic recovery should thus take greater account of environmental constraints. Indeed, a more resilient economy depends on a shift to sustainable practices. Such an evolution is going to induce change in the skills needs in the future. To achieve green growth, the economic sector
Mr. LEMIALE, we cannot hear you anymore. I don't know if your mic...
Microphone.
Okay.
Is okay.
Yes, we can hear you again.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm very sorry. Good morning from good morning from France and Europe. I'm very happy to introduce this GreenCap and this EuroCham GreenCap 2021 Youth Conference. This conference is a result of a partnership between EuroCham and GreenCap project. As it was said, GreenCap is a capacity building project in the field of higher education, co-funded by the Erasmus Plus program of European Union. The consortium is composed of 3 European universities and 4 Cambodian universities. GreenCap project supports Cambodians' pathway toward green growth and sustainable development by promoting adaptation of higher education institutions to sustainable development needs. GreenCap project is based on two main pillars: increasing awareness of green business among students, improving students' employability for existing and future green jobs. I should point out that this conference could not have taken place without the work of Liz Bentoto and her team from EuroCham Cambodia. I would also warmly thank my GreenCap project team, Laurent Messman, Sokun Tili, and Ria Deniska for their work. COVID-19 crisis have impacted severely social and economic situation in Cambodia as it does worldwide. This crisis has particularly affected younger generation by school and university closure and reduced opportunity in a competitive job market, with a need to recreate, innovate, and boost links between young generation and world of work. This crisis also revealed connection between socioeconomic development and environment. Economic recovery should just take greater account of environmental constraints. Indeed, a more resilient economy depends on a shift to sustainable practices. Such an evolution is going to induce changes in skill needs in the future. To achieve green growth, the economic sector will need more skilled manpower who should have the quality and capacity to develop green business and green activities. This conference aims to contribute to the achievement of these goals by helping younger generation to grasp future green job market and the skills and abilities needed. I wish you a fruitful conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. LEMIALE. I think that unfortunately Mr. Fornari is not back again, but we will most definitely try to find a space so that he can convey his message from the EU delegation. So I propose we start with our first panel, which will be moderated by Karolien CASAER from GGGI, and during which we will have a presentation of the country director of UNIDO, Mr. SOK Narin, who will be later on joined by 3 experts who will each also give a brief overview and their vision about entrepreneurship, the digital revolution, and green business from a European perspective. So I will give now the floor to the next panel.
Thank you very much, Lise, and all the colleagues from EuroCham and from GreenCap. As Elise said, I am the country representative for the Global Green Growth Institute, or GGGI, here in Cambodia. And we are an international organization offering policy and investment advice on green growth. In Cambodia, we focus on greening the industries, on waste management, on sustainable mobility, and on green building. In practice, that means that we advise the government and other counterparts on a range of issues. For example, on affordable sanitation solutions for cities, on waste recycling and cost recovery, on which regulations to introduce to promote the use of electric vehicles, to give just a few illustrations. We work closely with the national government, with a number of cities across the country, and with other national counterparts, such as the Garment Manufacturing Association and the Green Building Council. Now the organizers have asked me to take 5 minutes to tell you a little bit more about my own background as an example of how someone lands in a green job. So I grew up in a small village in Belgium, and I got my first master's degree at the University of Leuven, close to home. I studied philosophy, a slightly unusual degree, and not one that gives you the strongest prospects in the job market, to be honest. But I absolutely loved the topic, and I relished those 4 years in Leuven, where I had the luxury of just spending my days in the library studying a topic that I was passionate about. After that, I went to Paris and I did a second master's in international relations at a school called Sciences Po, aiming for a career in international development. And that worked out well. After graduating, I worked a number of years for the Belgian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and then for the United Nations, and now for the Global Green Growth Institute in a number of countries. I've had the luck of working on some of the things I care about most in life: development finance for lower income countries, climate change, green growth. And looking back now, I think both of my degrees prepared me for this career. My international relations degree spoke very directly to the sort of work I do today, but my rather unusual study in philosophy definitely helped shape my way of thinking, my way of looking at the world, and I learned a wealth of soft skills: analysis, synthesis, argumentation, negotiation, and those are skills that I use every day in my work. So a first message that I would have for the students who are listening today is study something that you love. The more you are passionate about a topic, the better you will study. And the more you learn about a topic, the more you will care about it. And that is how you get good at something. That is how you will stand out on the job market. And I'm happy to chat more about those things through the lovely conference platforms that the organizers have set up. That's enough about me. Back to the core topic of today, green jobs. It's a topic very close to our heart at GGGI. All too often, people think of the environment as a constraint to economic growth. At GGGI, we approach sustainability as an opportunity for growth, an opportunity for innovation, an opportunity for job creation. If you take renewable energy, for example, the International Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA, estimates that by 2050, there will be nearly 40 million jobs in the world directly related to renewable energy and energy efficiency. That largely offsets job losses in the fossil fuel industry from a transition to low carbon energy. And what we see in green job assessments that we've done in a few countries is that renewable energy generates more jobs per gigawatt hour and per dollar invested than fossil fuel-based technologies. In the industries in Cambodia, to give another example, GGGI estimates that 500,000 jobs can be created from stepping up resource efficiency in industrial processes. That's water efficiency, waste management, energy efficiency, material efficiency. We are working with the support of the European Union to upskill workers for that purpose. And given the increasing environmental demands in Cambodia's export markets and from international investors, green growth and green jobs are essential to the economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. So I'm very excited about today's conference and about the beautiful lineup of speakers that we have. We have lined up Mr. SOK Narin, the country representative of UNIDO. Then we have from the University of South Denmark, Professor Henning Peter Jorgensen. Then from our very own National University of Management here in Phnom Penh, we have the Dean, Mr. Stephen Patterson. And to close the line, we have Ms. Riti Chitina, who is the Digital Payment Product Manager at foodpanda Cambodia. So without further ado, I would like to pass the floor to my colleague Narin, who will tell us more about the green job market in Cambodia and some of the fabulous work that UNIDO is doing to promote green jobs. Narin.
Thank you, Karolien, for nice introductions and for setting the background for these conversations. First of all, it is my pleasure to join all of you in this very important session. And I'm also thankful to EuroCham and the GreenCap for inviting me as a guest speaker in these relevant sessions on the green job market with all the distinguished panelists. Before I talk about the subject itself, allow me to let me just share my screen. Allow me to, can you all see my screen? Yeah?
Yes,
okay.
We can see your screen.
All right. Okay, thank you. All right, before I talk on the subject itself, the subject of this session, allow me to give you a quick brief of what UNIDO is and what's the mandate of UNIDO. UNIDO is a specialized UN agencies with its headquarters in Vienna, Austria. And it was created in 1966. And currently we have 170 countries as member states. Currently, UNIDO has 48 regional and country offices around the world. Cambodia is one of the field office, and I have great privilege to be representative of this office in Cambodia. So I also want to take this opportunity to share the message with young Cambodians that when I was at your age, I never dreamed that I would have this position, and I never dreamed that I would ever have a chance to attend and obtain a graduate study. But you know, through opportunities that I was given and opportunity that I have experience I gained from the work, this is where I am right now. So UNIDO mandate is to promote inclusive and sustainable industrial development. In so doing, it supports member states to develop and implement technical cooperations in 4 main areas. One is on to create shared prosperity and in order to promote inclusive growth is we work with member states to build their productive capacities so that we could enable men and women to actively engage in industrialization process. And what you just have heard from Karolien, in this industrialization process, greening and green technology and the skills are important in the industrialization process. The second area is on economic competitiveness. This is where we work with member states to build their trade capacities so that we could ensure all countries equally benefit from international trade and technological processes through compliance with international standards and norms. As for the environment, and this is an area that it's play prominent roles to promote and enhance environmental sustainability and green activities. So we work with member states to build institutional capacities for greening industries and also to create green industries through application of resource efficiency in clean productions, as well as for the technology transfers. You will be here a bit more on this area in terms of relevant projects that we are doing in Cambodia, just like what CHHEAV has also been doing in the different, in also promoting green and sustainable city as well. So I will be sharing with you a bit more of what UNIDO is doing in this area. The last but not least thematic areas that UNIDO focus on is on the knowledge building, where we build the analytical and statistical as well as the reporting capacity for the member states so that they could have data and the capacity to analyze all information and data related to industrialization process. So with all of these 4 areas, all the program that UNIDO designs and implements, it contributes to the achievement of sustainable development goals as a whole, but in particular, SDG 9, this is what UNIDO is a custodian, that we, for this SDG 9, it's aims to build resilient infrastructure and to promote inclusive as well as sustainable industrializations and foster innovations. So at the country level, we have the government to design the program for country partnership, which is an innovative platform to mobilize blended funds to support the government in implementing industry development policy. And this, the program for country partnership has a high-level endorsement by the senior leadership of the country. For PCP in Cambodia, after several rounds of discussions and consultation with various government agencies and private sectors and civil society, the PCP focused on two main priority areas. One is on the agro-value chain development, linking it to tourism sector. The second area is on industrializations, diversifications, innovation in special economic zone development. Plus, it also covers a number of cross-cutting areas. And let me just to name a few, such as circular economy, women empowerment and youth employment. These are the cross-cutting areas. But again, I just only name a few of them, and there are many. So now, let me move to the really specific main themes of this session today, which is about the green job and the green markets. And here we are talking about green job versus green skills. And to many of my young Cambodians youths, you might be wonder, or maybe at this time, some of you might already be familiar with the terminology, but some of you might wonder what it is. And well, for me, I think these green jobs or green markets or green skills, it might be new terminologies. However, in my own opinion, and I think you have heard from previous speakers, is that these type of jobs or skills are existed, and many of us are already doing it or promoting it already. The question here, do we really have the same understanding of what it means? So now let me take this opportunity to share with you a common definition so that we all have the same understanding. So on the green jobs, ILO has come up with a definitions in which many organizations are using it now. ILO defined green jobs as decent jobs that really contribute to preserving and restoring environment. And it's also have to ensure or improve efficiency in the use of energy and raw material, just like what Karolien also mentioned about material efficiencies, greenhouse gas emissions, and pollution discharge. And as for the green skills, green skill is about knowledge, the ability and value, as well as the attitude for all of us to develop and to acquire so that we could live in and develop in order to support the sustainable and resource efficient society. So you have also heard earlier from the previous speaker on the opportunity and also on the future trends. Based on our research study, the green jobs or green market is that you will see more and more demand or market growth of all the green technology, such as the use of renewable technologies, the waste management, sustainable transport, and as well as energy efficiencies in industrial building and also in office building or in our accommodations, as well as also in industrial processes. So for the developing countries, we will also see rapid market development for the selected green technologies, such as the use of PV solar panel and also harvesting rainwater harvesting technology, as well as recycling of papers and energy efficiencies. Like the case in Cambodia, we could also see more and more interactions or development of technology that can be used in the agricultural activities. So with all of this market development, it will also stimulate demand for green jobs and related skills. Which also means that education program or education institution will also play important roles to develop those skills or to intensify the development of those skills so that we could have all qualified human capital, that possess all relevant skill that could meet the demand of the market. Now allow me to share with you some of the relevant technical professions. It was also mentioned with some of my colleagues like Karolien and also previous speakers, but also allow me to share with you some of them based on our field works and experience in different countries, including Cambodia, is that as you could see on this list, there are a number of technical professions that really contribute to the green and emerging industry, as you could see on the slide that I present here, such as electrical, technical technicians and engineers and others. Some of these are already developed and available in different institutions, but we will need to see more and more students, young people like you, interested to get into this kind of a technical skills, because it will serve all of these emerging market that I have shown to you earlier. And importantly, and many of us are always interested to get more female students to get into all of these technical professions. And I must say, through our work, it's not that easy. It's quite challenging, but I also see now a positive change that we could see more and more young female Cambodian students engage or enroll into this technical study. So I would encourage more and more, parents to encourage students, their son and daughters, to get into these technical studies. So now, at this point, I think you might be still, probably some of you, I think you probably have a better ideas what we are talking about of these green skills or green markets or, green job markets. Let me show you some of the example here so that you could also see that you could relate to it. I mean, some of them have already mentioned by Karolien in the projects that she's implementing here and others. And what I'm showing here is just selected number of projects that UNIDO is doing. That doesn't mean it is exhaustive, because there are many activities and projects that have been implementing by different entities such as CHHEAV or GreenCaps or others. Just to give you one example, currently we are implementing this project on to develop biogas in commercial farms. So this biogas that we develop the knowledge, technical knowledge among students, among operators on how to install biogas, on how to conduct feasibility for biogas, and also on the operations and management of this biogas system. All of this technical knowledge, we really don't have enough sufficient pool of the technicians. And another project that I could also share with you, this is the project where we work with garment factories and enterprise food processing, where we conduct resource efficiency and cleaner productions so that we could also recommend to them what to improve in terms of how to use energy better, in terms of how to improve material efficiencies. And this is a type of projects or activity that you would need qualified technicians and engineers and who knows how to operate machines, who know how to improve the efficiencies, who know how what are the leakage so that you could improve. In this project, we also work with university to really introduce the concept of this resource efficiency and cleaner production into the curriculum, so that we can educate more and more young Cambodians on the topics of this resource efficiency and cleaner productions. See, this is a type of work that our technicians and local experts and consultants are working. You know, they assess on the efficiencies and effectiveness of wastewater management. They do these energy audits, and they have to present the finding to management of factories and enterprise on their findings and recommendations. Another projects that we are implementing with the support of Swiss government is the project where we train young Cambodian youths on the technical skills, such as in garment, in manufacturing, in agro processing, in constructions, and also in the digital skills. This is a project where young Cambodian, those who are looking for starting up their business, can come and get the support from the project, can enroll for the training, can get the support on the training for the business development support services, the training on hard skills, as well as on the entrepreneurship skills. You can get in touch with my colleagues if you are interested to enroll for the training program. And for those who are already starting their business, they can also get the support from the projects as well. So, I mean, we have talked about, you know, the opportunity for the green job, what type of skills that would support this year green job and green skills and the future trends. Before I conclude, let me just leave some of the questions here that hopefully will be taken over by our distinguished panelists here. I mean, here, do we have enough of the skills that I have mentioned earlier? Is it enough to have all of these hard skills? Do we really to have, I mean, for all the graduate or students, do they really need to have another part of the skills, such as the soft and the entrepreneurship? And what kind of roles and responsibility that the training institutions or universities, as well as private sector, will also have to play? The same thing, I think, young Cambodians, what are the roles and responsibility that you have to play? You also have responsibility to play, and you also have to know that there are many job opportunity for you out there in the technical level, and some of these jobs at the mid-level, many of the employers are still looking for young Cambodian, qualified Cambodian with all the relevant skill to fill, and they are still struggle. So take the opportunity to learn as much as you can. There are many training programs offered by different institutions out there. The opportunity is there. Thank you all for your attention. I wish you all good luck, stay safe, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Narin. That was extremely interesting. I was reading recently a workforce assessment completed by USAID in the region, where again they emphasized the strong lack in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics students. And it's quite striking when I hear from you what the strong potential is for jobs in that area. It would seem indeed unfortunate that not more students are choosing that career path. And there are some wonderful NGOs in Phnom Penh who work with students to stimulate them and to get them excited about those careers. I'm thinking, for example, of the STEM education organization in Cambodia, and I'd be happy to put any of the students in touch with these organizations, so you can reach out over the conference platform. And Narin's questions have given me the perfect cue to turn to our panelists. And I would like to start with Professor Hennig Peter Jorgensen. Professor Jorgensen, with the Green Deal, the European Union has a very ambitious environmental agenda. And just this month, the EU announced it will cut greenhouse gas emissions with 55% by 2030. Can you tell us a bit more about green business and jobs in the EU? And the context in Cambodia is, of course, very different. But what do you think Cambodia can learn from more advanced economies? Can you give us some examples of good practices or maybe of missteps that Cambodia can avoid? Over to you.
Thank you. The sound is on. Am I correct? Can you hear what I'm saying? Okay, fine. Okay. Yes. And my presentation here, I'll just present the department and the group working with environmental resource management. My area of research is typically regional economics and sustainability in energy and bioresource dependent societies, and impact analysis and cost benefit of investment projects in such communities. And we're working in a research group, environmental research group, the MEA research group. And I'm head of an education, a master education in environmental and resource management. For the GreenCap project, we have two participants from MEA that take part mainly in this GreenCap project. And this is Divan Hassan and myself. And our university is situated here in Denmark, and I've just shown you a map here so you see where Denmark is, and we are situated here on the west coast of Denmark between Great Britain and Sweden and Germany. And as you can see, our campus here is in an area where we are in between marine waters here, and therefore traditionally have been dependent on environmental and resources related to the marine environment. Trade was the original part of the portfolio, and then later came fishery in these waters. So Denmark has been dependent on these marine resources. Then came oil and gas in the North Sea here. And now as oil and gas dwindles, we are into wind turbines, wind parks in the North Sea, and artificial energy island constructed here to produce hydrogen or composite from hydrogen, ammonia, and so on. So we are very much
I seem to have lost Mr. Jorgensen. Is it just me?
I think, yeah, the same.
Yeah, he seems to be offline. In the interest of time, might I suggest that we jump to our next panelist, and Mr. Jorgensen can join when the technical issues are sorted?
Yes. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Then our next panelist is Ms. Riti Chitana, who has had an absolutely fascinating career, I found, preparing for this conference. Ms. Chitana, you work at foodpanda. Foodpanda is now the biggest food delivery app in Asia, excluding China. And I think with the pandemic, we are all seeing food delivery companies in a new light, as these companies played an important role in ensuring people continue to receive daily essential items delivered amidst the shutdown. Now, the World Bank has recently noted the lack of information technology skills and how it is likely to hamstring expansion of the digital economy in Cambodia. What future trends do you see coming up in the digitization of the economy, and which skills are important for students to enter the digital job market?
Hi, Liz. Thank you. Thank you for the question. So yes, so we can see that a lot of digital business are emerging as Asia as a whole, and foodpanda is one of the food tech company that is quite prominent, I would say, not only in Cambodia but also in other countries in Asia and Europe as well. So if we take a look at the future of the digital job market, I would say that there are still a lot of opportunities, especially when it comes to digital and technology. I would like to give you an example about the e-commerce ecosystem in Cambodia. We can see that there are a lot of e-commerce business or digital business are being created on a daily basis, just with different models selling different products or services. But what we can also see is that the trend is concentrated only in the urban areas, in the cities. Basically, we are still not able to reach out to people who are living in the rural areas. So that is something that I would consider as the opportunity for the youth or the next generation to focus on as well. We should be able to look at the e-commerce ecosystem as a whole. Like, what do we need? We need to be able to ask a question like, what do we need to run a business? For example, if you want to reach to people living in the countryside, we need to think infrastructure here. I'm referring to the internet access, mobile device usage, people, digital literacy, whether they are able, like people are able to use their smartphone, mobile application, able to understand the user interface on the mobile application or website or not. So those are all the things that should be considered when we look at the e-commerce ecosystem in the country or elsewhere. So that is the opportunity that I can see. And with regard to the skills that I would suggest to our kids, to concentrate on is you need to be able to understand the big picture of the whole economy, because we have our lecturer of economics here as well. So I'm sure he would be able to tell us more about what are the benefits of understanding just the macroeconomics concept, that underlying all aspects of every business in the countries. So you need to be able to understand the concept of economics, value chain, why this business is filling in the value chain of the whole industry, for example. So when you have this high-level understanding of the economics and the ecosystem, it will help you understand further when it comes to creating your own business ideas, or like becoming an entrepreneur, which I'm sure Mr. Stephen Patterson will be covering on that part. So yes, that's one thing. And the other thing is, it's just what I can say is that data is very important in the business world right now. So I would advise our younger generation to try to just, I don't know if you're not into data, but just know where you can get the data, try to understand the data and be able to read and analyze and then report or present the data that you have access to visually to the other people or team members. So even if you run your own business, you still need to be able to understand or be able to utilize the data that you have on hand as well. So basically, I would say these are the two main skills that I see is in demand right now.
Karolien, you're muted, sorry.
excuse me. Yes, so very clear points from Chitana, economics and data. I'm curious, Chitana, you worked with foodpanda, you've worked with Smart Axiata, you worked on e-commerce platforms. Do you see the digital economy as an economy that can be more inclusive, more sustainable than the traditional economy?
I'm afraid I'm not gonna make that comparison, but what I can say is that there are still many opportunities that the digital economy can bring for the countries and for the globe as a whole. Why is that? Because if we talk about digitalization or digital economy, especially in Cambodia, it's still very limited. Like I mentioned earlier, that the access to e-commerce platforms of business are still limited to people living in the city only. And for Cambodia, we are not able to move completely to like full digital business, but we can do the online, offline kind of thing, you know. For example, you can present your service or products online on a digital platform, and then find a way to link or bring your customer to visit your store. So that is one way, or it can be the other way around, when people visit your store and then go online and purchase your product. So this is gonna bring more economic activities, and when we have more economic activity, everyone is included, or what we call economic inclusive or digital inclusive. There will be an impact, a positive impact on economic growth. This is what I can see high levelly on digital economic can positively impacts the economic of the countries.
Thank you. It's a fascinating field of work. I would like to turn to Stephen Patterson. Stephen, you are the Dean of the National University of Management, and in that capacity, you run a number of business and acceleration programs. I'm sure everyone would love to hear more about that. And I'd be keen to get your take on what makes a successful entrepreneur, and how can universities prepare students to become entrepreneurs?
Okay, so thank you, Karolien, for the couple of questions here. So just first of all, I'm Dean of our International College. So at National University of Management, we have our regular programs, and then we have the International College, which is maybe similar to like a new generation school or a chartered school, a school within a school. One of our biggest programs here is we have the undergraduate major in entrepreneurship and innovation, and we also offer a master's program in global innovation management. And as you mentioned, our startup competitions, we run the National Business Model Competition, which is a lean startup competition open to university students in Cambodia, including also high school students. And then with McKinsey & Company, we have our regional Mekong Challenge, which is also a lean startup competition for the Mekong region. Both of those competitions are open to social entrepreneurship ideas, including green entrepreneurship, right? So these are, I guess, the new buzzwords now: green entrepreneurship, green innovation. But definitely our competitions are open to these ideas, and we are a university-based, student-based competition. So I'm hoping this fall that some of our participants today will apply to those competitions. So what makes a great entrepreneur? Actually, I would go, I guess probably it's good to just talk a little bit about our philosophy. You know, people are always asking me, okay, how many social businesses, how many startups do we generate? And I always say that what we're focusing on, both in our majors academically and in our competition, is entrepreneurial mindset. Most of these students are students, and I actually encourage them to go on for graduate studies. And so from my point of view, we are teaching a way of thinking, a way of identifying problems, social problems, business problems, how to solve those problems with lean startup techniques, how to experiment, how to learn from failure. But our ultimate goal is also, you know, we think, you know, the concept of intrapreneurship, or even green innovation. The idea that you can take these ideas and work for a large company, an NGO, even the government, and you can innovate inside. So in other words, you can be an entrepreneur inside a large organization where you're not using your money and investment, you're using the organization's budget, but you're still creating a team, you're developing a new product, a new service, there's risk involved, but less risk on the personal side. So to me, the whole idea of entrepreneurial mindset is you can apply this in large organizations, in the government sector, or as a startup. But the reality is, since most people are young, doing a successful startup outside of a college or a university is very, very challenging and very, very risky, right? Not everyone is, a Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. And so I think it's very, very important that we teach the skill set, but let people know that they can apply this skill set in any large organization. And, we live in a VUCA world now, a lot of volatility, a lot of uncertainty, change and ambiguity. And this sort of entrepreneurial mindset is very essential for success in the 21st century economy. And in terms of what to study, and I think you touched upon this when you mentioned philosophy, I find the most creative profiles are people, two types of profiles. I would call the first one the T-shaped profile. The T-shaped is basically the stem of the T is specialization. Everyone needs specialization. The top of the T is general knowledge. And, it's like Steve Jobs taking art and design and mixing it with technology and revolutionizing a business. The other profile I'm seeing a lot now is what I call H-shaped people. They have two stems, two majors. It might be technology and business. It might be environmental studies and business, or environmental studies and technology. And as an H, they connect those two majors to do something innovative and creative and entrepreneurial. So I really, I think one of the negative, not negative, but one of the weaknesses I see in the Cambodian education system is students often don't have general knowledge. They often are maybe over-specialized in accounting or finance or certain areas of business. And I think we really need to develop more dual degree programs where we combine two majors, so students are learning the technology IT side and also the business side, or the environmental studies side, plus business or technology. I think that is the key going forward, that we need to expand the horizon, develop more dual degrees so that students are exposed to more than one academic discipline. Just like you mentioned yourself, you had philosophy and I believe international relations. So it's these combinations, I think, that create a much more creative mindset, a much more innovative mindset.
Thank you. It's a very interesting point. I would love to get Professor Jorgensen's take on that, but I'm not sure if we managed to get him back online. Is Professor Jorgensen back with us?
Sorry, Karolien, he's still not yet back. Probably you can move on to the next question, and we at the same time we'll try to contact him. And we'll let you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware that we've gone quite a bit over time already. So maybe now would be a good time to open the floor to students for questions. And then I don't know if you got Mr. Fonari back. If he's back, he may give the concluding words instead of myself. But are there any questions online from the students? You can drop them in the chat box. You can raise your hand. So it's hard to go first. Then I'd actually be curious to apply some of what Mr. Patterson said and ask a question to Chitana. You mentioned economics, you mentioned data, you mentioned a need for this degree of specialization, of course, in your business. But what are some of the soft skills that you would recommend students work on?
It's obviously the communication skill. That's one of the most important soft skills that a student needs to have. Either they're gonna run their own business, or they're gonna work in small, big, or in the government. So communication skill and also organization skill. Another thing I would advise is the some try to have learn more about people. So psychology, I wouldn't say that is a soft skill, but when you know about the psychology of people, you know how people think, the rationale behind their thought or behavior, it will help you navigate better in any type or in different type of context, at work or personal. So so try to be more empathy, have more empathy. That's the point. So yeah, these are the three main soft skills that I would advise to a younger generation to try to work on these so that it will help in the future.
Thank you so much. And we have a brave first question in the chat. Again for Ms. Chitana. A question from K. Sowinta. How do we make sure that the digital benefit that comes with the more digitalized world also includes those who are not tech savvy? Very good question. More specifically, what have businesses or organizations done to be inclusive? Interesting point. Chitana.
Yes, very interesting. I would like to highlight a bit that there are now many private companies. They are trying to raise awareness about the importance of digital skill or technical skill. For example, SMART, they have their SMART internship program for fresh graduate, for students who are still in the university doing their third or fourth year. So they can, so this type of initiative help raise awareness among our people, among young people, that technical skill and digital skill is highly needed now. And through their this kind of initiative, when students start to be aware of the importance of digital skill, they would, at least try to educate themselves or try to find more information about those kind of skill, or maybe for high school students, maybe they would, go to university and taking class in information technology, for example. So this is just some small or just some initiatives that some corporate private companies are doing. But another part of your question, like how can we ensure that those who are not tech savvy will be included in the digital economy? This is, I would say that this will require the commitment from other entities or other players, the government and non-profit organization. So, for example, like I mentioned earlier, when we talk about e-commerce ecosystem, the accessibility is very limited due to lack of infrastructure, due to lack of digital skill. Of course, like you imply in your question, a lot of people in the rural area, they don't know how to operate digital device. So this is something that will need more support from, I don't know, from private companies, non-government organization, and also government themselves to help on that areas. And when someone have a business idea, like to involve or to include our people living far away from the city, then they would be ready when with the enough support. So that's why I mentioned again and again about the ecosystem, who are the players that will be helpful to build this ecosystem together. And this is not just the job of one part of one entity. It will involve many players.
Yeah, very good point. We have another question in the chat here from Kim Chanwibo. We said about data is important. How to get free online data? That's a tough one. Any takes on that?
Yes, that's a tough one. Actually, if you are interested in analyzing data, basically, for example, if you are already taking classes in data analysis, there are online resources where you can get some customer information data and do the analysis. You know, if, for example, if you want to do the regression analysis, if you want to understand, do the prescriptive analysis of consumer behavior, like what are they going to, like if you want to know the willingness to buy, for example, their buying pattern, there are online resources available. You can Google. I'm sure you will come across something, and you can just download the data and do the analysis. Yes.
Good, very practical tips. Wow, the chat is really picking up. I'm going to continue until someone tells me to stop.
Okay, sorry, Karolien, just to let you know, Professor Hansing is back. In case you have to give him some question, maybe, yeah.
Yes, what's the indication? Because I am just in parallel, I'm receiving a question here to round up. What's the indication from the organizers on time?
I think we can go for around 5 more minutes max.
Okay, great. In that case, we can give 5 minutes to Mr. Jorgensen, and then I think we have lots of questions now in the chat, but we can make sure to respond to them after the conference. I think I'm sure the organizers can pass them on to the relevant panelists. Mr. Jorgensen.
Yes, Lisa, I'm not sure because I think I got myself disconnected. I'm not sure whether you heard what my presentation was about until thank you, but I hope so. If there are any questions, you're very welcome, of course.
We have a few questions in the chat here that I think are relevant both for Mr. Jorgensen and Mr. Patterson, our university representatives. For example, from Riksa, is there any particular skill or expertise that you personally think Cambodia is needed in Cambodia's green market? Skills that are less available, and what is your message on improving those skills? I think Mr. Patterson already gave some pointers on that, but Mr. Jorgensen, and what would be your main advice towards students who want to launch themselves in a green job market? Which skills to emphasize?
Yeah, I think I mentioned them. I don't think there's any particular skills that are necessary for Cambodia. These, at least when it comes to climate change, this is a global public negative good problem. We all suffer the consequences. We don't know who. So risk, of course, analyzing risk is important for companies, and of course we increasingly also hear supply chain management, including sustainability to ensure sustainability in the chains, the full chain, cooperating with the full chain, of course, and in this respect, of course, there's some difference between the European situation at one end, perhaps, of the consumption production line, and Cambodia and some of the other Asian countries in the other end of. But still, the supply chains are global now, so managing the supply chains is seemingly very important now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's also something that we see in our own work and in the work that we do with the EU support, is that the pressure to green really comes from the supply chains and from the European and American export markets. So that's, I think it's a very wise piece of advice to our students. I'm getting a message here from the organizers. I'm allowed to take 2 more questions. It's your lucky day. So I think the next question from Chandra to Ms. Chitana. We're stirring up some debates. I want to ask about plastic packaging for food delivery in your company. What is the vision or plan to solve this or to shift away from the plastic problem? Chitana.
Thank you very much for the question. I'm sure that would come up. Yeah. So when it comes to delivery, one of the initiatives that we have already implemented for foodpanda Cambodia is that we have the option in the application in the checkout page where our customer can decide whether whether they will need the plastic fork or spoon or not. So that is just one small initiative locally in our local market. But I would like to also take this opportunity to also share with everyone here as well that at the group level, we are having the sustainable packaging program. That program is already implemented in 8 different markets already globally, in a few countries in Europe and a few countries in Asia as well. So this sustainable packaging program is the initiative that the group is implementing, and we'll encourage our partners to use this kind of sustainable packaging when they pack or prepare the food for the customers. So briefly, yes, we have done something.
Thank you. That's good to hear, and it's always great to see that the pressure really comes from the consumer and from young people, exactly like those online today who expect this from their favorite brands. One very last question from Visna to Dr. Peterson. I like your point regarding entrepreneurship and mindset. What is your advice to a fresh graduate like myself who has 0 knowledge in entrepreneurship or business, but who wants to build an entrepreneurship mindset from scratch?
Okay, that's a very challenging question. Obviously, there's a lot of resources out there, but in terms of the mindset, I actually was doing a seminar this morning on this, and instead of entrepreneurship, it's probably more of an innovative mindset, but I really believe that certain skills like curiosity and asking questions are very important, right? Asking challenging questions. So I think having that questioning mindset is very much part of the entrepreneurial mindset. I think observation. I think we don't observe anymore. I think we're just locked into our different screens, whether it's our iPhone screen, our tablets, our computer screens, our TV screens. I don't think we really observe what's happening in society. And through observation, you see problems, right? You see whether they're social problems, whether they're business opportunities, and then asking the right questions, right, in terms of what you observe and see. And then, I mean, Jeff Dyer has this great book called The Innovator's DNA, where he also goes on and talks about things like networking, the importance of networking, asking for help, asking for resources, and also experimenting, learning from failure, right, trying a lot of new things. So I think a lot of these skills, lead to a much more innovative and entrepreneurial mindset. So there's a lot of things that you can actually practice. And one of the things I actually do for training is I do a 30-day challenge. So my idea is always, if you can change people's behavior, you can make them more creative. You change their mindset. And so I actually do 30-day challenges on observation, 30-day challenges on questioning, right? And so there's a lot of techniques out there that you can use. And these are a lot of soft skills, but I see them very much lacking among younger people in Cambodia.
Mr. Jorgensen, we had to miss you for a big part of the discussion. Any last comments on that? How does one build an entrepreneurial mindset? Oh, I think you're on mute still.
I don't know if this is my specialty here. I think perhaps I'm not the right one to answer this question. I'm mainly focused on the tools of analysis and understanding how to document and work with supply chain management questions and so on. So increasing the number of companies, getting them off ground and so on. This is not my specialty. I don't think I'm the right one to answer this question.
Good. Well,
Sorry.
maybe that's also an answer, being clear about what you know and what you don't know. I think you're setting a good example here. Then it breaks my heart, but the very last word goes to Narin, who indicated that he has something to say on the topic. And then I know there are a number of questions that we didn't get to answer, but we will follow up after the conference with the students. Narin, over to you.
Thank you, Karolien, for giving me an opportunity. Probably we break a bit of the rules as a speakers and also. But no, I really like the point that really put it so bluntly by Stefan. Thanks to Stefan, I mean, for his extensive experience in Cambodia, so he really knows what are the challenges. So, and he put it really straightforward, and I do hope that our young Cambodians take it seriously. I mean, in terms of read more, search for documents, and expose yourself more, interact more, and ask people. And I think that something that I always advocate, and I don't see it much happening in Cambodia yet, is that many of our young Cambodians that they still don't grab opportunity to do an internship. You know, in other countries, students are really eager to do an internship, and they are always looking for opportunity to do internships. You really need to take this opportunity to build your practical experience income supplement to your academic experience. Because remember, when employers want to recruit you, yes, they look at your degree, but at the same time, they look at your practical experience. And this is something that you could gain while doing internships. So you really need to balance the time that you need to spend on the academic. Stefan mentioned about dual degree. That would take, it will provide you an opportunity to learn two subjects at the same time, but also I think you also really need to balance your time that you could also learn the real life. Get yourself involved and exposed to different society activities so that you could interact more people. And also, to be very honest with you, what I have observed, and sorry to be also blunt at this point, I have seen many young Cambodians are good at using Facebook just for nothing. I'm sorry to say. You really need to use social media for the benefit of your work experience, and you can use it to improve your knowledge, but not just, for unnecessary stuff. I have seen many young Cambodians, they are good at using Facebook, but when I ask them to really use it for work related, they cannot come up with a message that really have to really promote the work. So that's my advice to you. Use time to gain practical experience, interact more, get involved with the society works, and first, don't think too much about whether you get paid or not, but the most important is the experience. Once you get experience, people will always look for you. And keep in mind integrity and honesty. This is the core values that every employer would always look for. Thank you. Sorry, my young Cambodian, that I'm too blunt, too straightforward, but I just want to share with you, this is a reality.
Thank you, Narin. I think those are very inspirational words to close this very interesting session on. I don't know if you guys could see it, but while you were all talking, there was lots of applause and heart emojis and smiling faces. So we had an enthusiastic crowd. Do reach out to us, to the speakers over the platform. Someone just posted the link again in the chat. And we can continue this discussion there. Thank you so much to all the panelists. And I give the floor back to the organizers.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Karolien, and of course to all the panelists for contributing all the inputs and giving lots of great advice to students. So without any further delay, I would like to switch now to a short breaks, just a 5 minutes short break, so that everyone, students, can participate in our interactive games. So probably, Liz, you want to lead this session? Okay.
Yes, thank you, Ratanak. Thank you, and thank you for the participants of the first panel. So before we switch to the next one, I hope you can all hear me. Yes, okay, so before we switch to the next panel, as Ratanak was saying, we want to make sure that everyone is still with us. So I will invite you to join me and Kim Hong for a short interactive game, which will serve as a warm-up for the next interactive session. So the rules are very simple. We will show and we will share the questions, and we will read out loud 4 possible answers. And then everyone will have the opportunity to share what they think is the right and correct answer in the chat box. So you don't have to give the entire answer. Each option has a number, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just have to put 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat box. And then after that, after everyone had the opportunity to do that, we will share then the correct one. So it's not about winning, so we will not count, the correct answers. It would be impossible with so many participants, but it's really about learning. So we really encourage you to participate. So just to make sure that everyone is with us, I'm going to do a little test. So can everyone go to the chat box and just put 1? Just type in 1 in the chat box.
And type 2 for me.
Okay, I see a lot of 1s. Great. So I think we can start.
Yeah.
So Sudani, I think you're the one sharing the screen. Can you go to the first question. What does UNIDO stands for? So I'm sure that everyone listened carefully to Mr. SOK Narin, but do you know what his organization stands for? Is it 1, United Nations Internet Development Organization, 2, United Nations Industrial Development Organization, 3, Union of New Intergovernmental Defense Offices, or 4, United Nations International Demography Objectives? Okay, so I see a lot of 2s. Okay. So Sudani, can you reveal the right answer? Yes, so I think most of you are right. So for those who are not right, don't worry, it's just a warm-up. Kim Hong will share the next question.
Okay, so welcome to my question. So the question is, what is the name of the European Plan for Climate? So if you look at this picture, maybe something you can feel about the color. So it may be related to something green. So the first answer is Green New Deal. Second one is International New Deal. Third one is Europe for Climate. And last one is European Green Deal. So what is the answer? Maybe you can drop down the answer in the chat box. I will give you 5 more seconds. Okay. So let's count down. 3, 2, 1. So Danny can show the answer now. You see, it's related to green. Okay, so the answer is number 4. Okay, so back to Liz for next question.
Thank you. So the next question, what is the European Union motto? So motto, for those that don't know, is a short sentence that represents the foundations and the ideals of an organization or an institution. So is it 1, united in diversity? 2, one vision, one identity, one community? 3, liberty, equality, fraternity? Or 4, in God we trust? So I think it's a bit difficult. So I'm gonna give some background, some tips. So actually this was inspired by a Nobel Prize winner, an Italian one, Ernesto Teodoro Moneta. Sorry for all the Italians for my pronunciation. And it means actually that European countries shall work together in unity for prosperity, and that the different cultures are a positive aspect for the union to grow. So what do you think is the answer? So I will also do my little countdown. 3, 2, 1. Yes, number 1, united in diversity.
Okay, so next question, back to me again. So you already know about the EU answer. So what is the ASEAN motto? So the answer is similar. The first one is united in diversity. Second one vision, one identity, one community. And third one, liberty, equality, facility. If sorry, I'm a bit fast. And last one is so special. In God we trust. So do you think it's the right answer for number 4? If not, you can defend on the chat box. Okay, you can drop down your answer. And let's see in the few seconds, you will see the right answer. So as usual, I will count again. I will count 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. So dang! It's number 2. One mission, one identity, one community. Okay, so I will give to Liz again. Next question.
Okay, so the next, ooh, wow. Okay, so how old is planet Earth? Is it 1, 10 million years old? Is it 2, 1 billion years old? Is it 3, 4.5 billion years old? Or is it 4, 10 billion years old? So what do you think?
So you can already drop down the answer in the chat box. And at the meantime, I have a question for Liz as well. If you bring these questions, is it the Earth have like passport or identity card? How do you
No. The Earth doesn't have a passport or identity card, but it's really fascinating how they are studying it. I'm not sure I fully understand, but it's actually geologists that do that. So what they do is that they study rock formations from Earth and also from other planets, and they compare them. So on Earth, for instance, they will use zircons. These are like tiny crystals from volcanic eruptions, and through science they're able actually to determine like approximately how old it is. And then later in time they also use meteorites that crashed into Earth to see through the formation like how long they have been on Earth. So that is how they do it.
Okay.
So okay, let's go to the answers. So I will do the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Yes, I think most of you were right. I saw someone just Googled it. Okay, maybe we have to be a little bit faster so they don't have time to Google it.
Okay, so next question, please. Okay, this question is a bit general but technical for recruiter. They say that recruiters spend less than 10 seconds to read a CV. Do you think it's true or false? If you think it's true, you can write down the answer number 1. False number 2, it might be false, but I don't know. Let's see. Okay, I got a lot of 1. So you have 3 seconds left. So I will count down. 3, 2, 1. So Danny can give the answer now. Yes, it's true. So if when you apply the CV, maybe you can make the CV look more attractive. So the recruiter might be look at your CV faster. And yes. Okay, so next one, please.
Yes, I think this is the last one. So which of the following tips for job searching is accurate? This is really in preparation of the next session where you will learn about, how to stand out as a candidate while looking for a job. So what is accurate? Reliability is not a valued quality for candidates. Is it 2? Updating your CV is not that important. Only the interview is, only the talk. Is it 3? Available jobs are only advertised publicly by companies? Or is it 4? Most employers consider soft skills as an essential factor in the hiring decision. So what do you think it is? Are soft skills important? Is the CV not important? Reliability undervalued? Or can you only find jobs through public advertising? So in 3 seconds, 3, 2, 1. Yes, of course.
We got a lot of more.
Yes, soft skills are
Okay.
so important. Okay.
So
Next slide. I think that was the last one.
Okay, so I will repeat the question. So which of the following information of green job is false? So the question is to find the false information. The first one, green job are only high job skill, high skill, yes. And second one, green economy, sorry, my eye is a bit green economy could create 24 billion new jobs by 2030. So one main green job sector are energy, agriculture, design, tourism, transport, and last answer is in 2018, approximately 11 million green jobs were created. So which one do you think is the wrong one? I'm not yet read all the answer. I'm not yet read all the answer, but have the answer already in the chat box. So interactive session. Okay, so you have 3 more seconds. So I will count again. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the right one is so the false information one is number 1. Green job is not looking for the high skill. It's about helping people. So yeah. So I think it's all right, Liz, for our question.
Yes. And so now we're done. So I'm so sorry. I was already so excited for the next session that I said that it was done. But anyways, well played, everyone. We hope that you learned a lot of new things, and we hope that you are ready to be taken away by Ratanak to the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz and Kim Hong for the game. I'm sure it's very nice, and of course for enough time for everyone to refresh a bit before we move on to the next session. So I have on the agenda for our second part of today's conference. We have our guest expert, Mr. CHHEAV Narath. He is the lecturer at the Royal University of Law and Economics, who he will share his thought on the empowering coaching. So, Mr. Narath, I give you the floor, and you can control the slide. Yeah, thank you so much. You can unmute yourself. Yeah.
Thank you, Ratna, for the introduction. And I would like to say hello and greeting to everyone, to all the distinguished panelists, as well as all the participants that, if I understand well, mostly students today, because what I'm going to share, maybe it's not very interesting for the panelists, because what I prepare is totally to speak to the student. So I would like to start by introducing myself a little bit more. So my name is Narath. Today I am a lecturer part-time lecturer at the Royal University of Law and Economics. Actually, I have been teaching here for the last 10 years in the master and bachelor program, where I used to study over 15 years ago. Since last year, I also take the role as being elected as the board member of EuroCham here in Cambodia. And today I'm representing Royal University of Law and Economics at the board of EuroCham. Additionally, I also have the role of chairman of HR committee in the same chamber. And beside that, for the last 10 or even a little bit more, 10, 13 years, I have been working in the private sector. So I mostly involve a lot in the recruitment process. I recruit people every month. And also I involved in the lecturing at university and also training a lot of people in the company for the last 10 years or so. So today I'm going to share with you a little bit about the subject that I'm passionate about also. So when I hear that there is a lot of students today what I can think of firstly is how to prepare students the transition coming from workplace, from school into workplace, because as a practitioner in the private sector that recruit a lot of new students, new graduate to join the workplace, I see many issue, I would say the gap of misunderstanding or not readiness of the student in order to be ready in the workplace. Okay, so I think without going too much on my own presentation, I would see how, am I having the control right now, Ratana?
Yes, you can request the control. There's a small icon on the top. So you can.
Oh, sorry, wait a moment. Let me find the icon. I see it zipped the spotlight. Let me try to move. It's not working. Request control, right?
Yes.
I don't see it.
Okay, I think we can switch to the second option. You can indicate, and then we can move to the next slide for you.
Okay. So please.
So, yeah, next slide, Danny.
So for the moment, are you showing my slide? Because I cannot see myself. I only see the panel screen.
Yes, we do show your slide. Yeah.
How can I see the slide?
Okay. Let us unshare and share again. Probably there's a small issue.
Because my screen, I still see the part 1 panel presentation.
Okay.
Okay, now I start to see it. Okay, cool. You can go to this slide then. So just to understand, do I still have 30 minutes or I need to speed up a little bit, Ratna?
Probably you can speed up a little bit, but
no problem.
I don't want to squeeze in too much of your time. Yeah, also.
Yeah, I will save time when it's possible. No problem. Okay, so as I was speaking earlier, today I'm very happy to share with you all students about how to prepare yourself from school to workplace. So today there is 4 main things that I would like to draw attention to you. So first one is which career to choose. Or even which study to choose if you are at the beginning of your decision to choose the study or to choose which career. Second one, we will talk about how to help you succeed the job interview. And the third point is when you arrive at the workplace quickly, what can be the right behavior that we in the company expect a student to change and to behave. And third one is the topic of my interest. I am interested a lot in the how to find meaning and purpose of our life, whether it's a personal or professional one. Okay, you can move to the next one. So first one, which career? I was listening to the discussion earlier, and it drew my attention when Karolien said, please study the subject you love, because it's really what I'm going to share with all students here today also. Here in the screen, it's the matrix of one of the famous concept. It's a Japanese concept called Ikigai. So I don't speak Japanese, so I'm not sure I pronounce it well. But Ikigai in Japanese, what I understood is the definition is the reason for being. And it's very famous for many professionals and students alike to really understand it. And today I want to share with you, you don't have to read everything, right? You can find full detail available on the internet. Here, what I want to explain to you in a simple way is that whenever we need to choose which subject to study or which career to build, it comes down to 4 areas of question. The first one is to ask, as Karolien asked earlier, which subject you love, which job you find yourself proud and you will be satisfying to do. So this is really the question number 1 that you should ask. And after that, over the step of your experience, over the course of your study, you will understand what you can be good at, what you can do well. So knowing what you love, knowing what you're good at doing is good, but it's not enough. You need to look around to see what the world needs the most, what the world needs you, what the world give value. And when you find these three all combined, there's one more thing. You need to be sure that if you want to make it as a career to earn your life, you need to make sure that the company or there is a recruiter who are willing to pay for it. So for you as a student, when decision come how to choose your career, how to choose your area of study, all these four questions come down. What do you love to do? What are you good at doing? Does the world need you, need that specialty, need that job? And will someone or a company willing to pay for it? So if you can find all the common space between all these four questions, all these four areas, that's is called the ikigai. This is the concept of the ideal situation or decision that you should do. Okay, so this I hope this simple concept should help you to make a decision when you need to choose a big make a big decision in your life, like choosing a study or career. But it can also apply to a small daily task. You can do next. Second point. In order to transition from school to workplace, first and foremost, you need to succeed the entrance exam. And the entrance exam for student to workplace is the job interview. So for me, there's two things. There can be a lot of things, but today I share you two things which is important. You need to know two things. So the first one in the preparation phase is to know the company and the job you are applying for. My experience as a recruiter, I recruit a lot of, I meet a lot of candidates, and it's disturbs me a lot when the candidate come without knowing or doing some research about the company, or don't even know or can't even read the title, the job position that they apply for. So please, for students, for candidates who apply for a job, do seriously check to understand and have a good knowledge about what the company is doing, whether you like it or not, and what kind of job that you are applying for, whether it's correspond to the exercise earlier. And the second thing you can move is to know yourself. And this is also, in my experience, it's very, I'm very upset to see that many candidates doesn't even know themselves. They don't know what are their skills, what are they good at, what they like, what they don't like. So for me, I really suggest you all students, you need to really have a good understanding of yourself. Whether you have some experience, it can be internship, it can be volunteer, it can be assignment or group work during class, but anything can add to your experience, and you need to know what you like to do, what you don't like to do. In other words, we can say you need to do your SWOT analysis, so strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat, to see what is really you. And it is important to ask these two last questions that I have in the slide, is to ask why you apply for the company, why you apply for the job. This question I like to ask candidate a lot, to see what is their motivation to apply for the company, why they want to do this job. So this is the two questions that you need to be ready, and you need to know, because don't wait recruiter to ask you. You have to be the first person to know why I'm applying for this job, why this company and not that company. And then you need to know what you want to do, because by knowing what you want to do, you know what job you apply for, what job, what company you want to apply for also. So this is in the preparation phase. Now if we move to the next slide, we can see that on the during the interview. So Ratana, you can move to the next slide. So during the interview, it's important to express yourself. I see a lot of candidates come to recruitment being shy. Please understand that all dear students, you don't come to interview, to show recruiter or HR manager, you are shy, because that's not how we want it to be. We need to be sure that you come prepared, knowing yourself, knowing the job, knowing the company, be a professional, but also be yourself. Don't try to be an ideal candidate that you answer all the questions that's not true to yourself. So Ratana, you can move one or two more point. Yeah, and first one is to be authentic, be yourself, but also be professional. And second point is to have confidence. Confidence is important, and confidence build over time. It's okay to be nervous for your first interview, but it's important that you feel less nervous for the second one. And in order to help you to be less nervous, is to know your why and purpose earlier. Why you apply for the company? Why you apply for the job? If you know well why you are there in the interview in the first place, all the confidence be in yourself, and you are not afraid of the recruiter because you know all the questions you would be able to answer. The third point, listening. Listen is very important. This happens less to students, but I have to insist with you. Students normally tend to listen well because you don't have a lot to share. You tend to listen and you tend to don't speak a lot. But my experience, sometimes we recruit people with have a lot of experience. They tend not to listen during interview. They come and be so proud to share all their experience without even observing what the recruiter really need from them. And this is a lost interview. You need to come and really understanding and observing what the company want you to explain about. So don't come and tell story and then to find out that they don't want to listen to that story. Okay. So, but this normally student doesn't have a problem. You have less to talk. And the last point is to ask question, which student normally don't do. Student, when I ask a question at the end of the interview, 9 out of 10 don't have question to ask. So I said earlier that you need to do a lot of research about the company, about the job, about the management practice to be sure you like about the company or not. But I'm sure you cannot do all the research and get all the information you want. So you have to prepare the question where you cannot find the answer yet. And by asking question, you show to the recruiter that you do your homework. You know what you want. You know what information you want to clarify from the company or from the job that you are applying for. So all in all about expressing yourself, it's important to remember that going to the job interview is not going to an interrogation, okay? And it's not a storytelling, it's a conversation. You need to keep in mind that you go to make a conversation to be sure that the recruiter would know you better. So there's no time to be shy, no time to not ask question, and no time not to listen. It's a conversation that you can listen, you can ask question, you can explain and express yourself. And the candidate who are able to do that tend to win the interview. You can move to the next slide. And then by doing this, I hope you can succeed the interview and start working. There is some behavior that you need to adopt that sometimes, unfortunately, we don't learn enough at school that I observe, and I think all students need to do and be aware of that. So for me, I put here all the right behavior that according to me should be something that you need to develop at work. The first one is to take responsibility. At class, when you do assignment or group work, you can rely on your classmate to do all the presentation and you are happy with it. When arriving at the workplace, you need to change that mindset because no one else will do the job for you but yourself. And only by doing the job that you grow the experience. And for those who work hard at school, arriving at the workplace, you get used to, you have the habit of doing hard work. And so you tend to be succeed faster than those who don't take enough responsibility at school. But it's never too late. So if you are a student here now hearing me sharing this, I suggest you to work really hard and be grateful for all the tasks, assignment, group work that the teacher give to you, because those prepare you to take more responsibility in order to be ready for the workplace. Second point also is to work in a collaborative way and to work with a high team spirit, because I can tell you that no one can work alone. Some people say, oh, if I'm an expert in my field, I'm an IT, I'm an accountant, or I'm very specialized, I don't have to work in a team. I can tell you that it's wrong. Any job, any type of specialty would need to work and collaborate together. Only human being, only when we collaborate and work together that we can bring better and bigger results. So this is really expected for students to really change mindset and adopt this kind of collaborative and team spirit mindset in the workplace. And I listened to the guest speaker earlier have shared also. I think many people have said communication. Communication is very important. You can't be shy during class. Don't ask questions to the lecturer during class. But at work, you need to express yourself. Those who have the chance to get promoted, to grow responsibility in the company, are those who are good at communication. Believe it or not, you cannot just do well your job and don't say a single word, don't care about people around you, don't care about the college, don't show compassion sometimes, and you expect that you are the best employee. So you have to develop this kind of communication skill set that is doesn't come in day one. You have to develop and practice it every day. I believe there's one more point. Can you move one more? Two more, yeah. And also at workplace, giving credit to earn respect. I see many people come to the workplace, they want to show people that I have ability to do things. I was a good student at school, so I want people to see me the same at workplace. But first, you have to take all the responsibility, work as a team. You need to express well, be good at communication. And you have to be able to give credit. To work as a team is to give credit to people working around you and not to be in the mindset of taking credit for yourself all the time. And by doing this, normally you will earn respect. And by giving credit and earn respect, normally it's the profile that can be easily be seen and promoted to be manager or leader later on. Now we can move to next slide. Okay, so there is three points that I want to share with you that about all the stress of how to integrate well into workplace, how to succeed job interview, what are the right behavior for me to do at a workplace. I think above all, we all need to live meaningfully. We need to live happily. This should be the goal in our life. And for me, there's three simple actions that you need to do, and no one else can do except you yourself, is to create your own meaning to your life. So three simple actions that I can share with you all students. The first one is to keep redefining your purpose, asking why you do this, why you do that, what do you want to become in the future, what kind of job, what kind of a career you want to build, and so on and so forth. So I know this kind of a question, it's not easy to answer. We cannot just ask this question and have answer immediately. Me, myself, I keep asking this question since many years. I have my answers, but I keep redefining and asking it also. So from time to time, our mind, our concept, our thinking, or what we want from our life can change. So this, sometimes you choose to learn a skill, but after finish the job, sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, my Microsoft Teams seemed to restart, so I'm back again. Sorry for the inconvenience. Yeah. Okay, so I think I don't know, maybe have everyone have heard me talking about the keep redefining or not yet? Maybe I can repeat this a little bit, right?
Yeah, I think we lost you just for 10 seconds.
Ah, okay, so that's fine. So, the first point that in order to create meaning to your life is to keep redefining and asking question, what is your life purpose and what do you want to do? What is your life? And this is really something that you need to keep asking yourself. Second point that I see people can use that to develop the confidence in themselves is to appreciate what you have done. We have done many things in our experience. Just sometimes that we don't appreciate what we have done enough, and we only focus in the negativity of the things we have done, and we are afraid of things that we didn't succeed to do things the way we want. But if we switch our mind from thinking negativity to positivity by looking some things that we have done and we feel good about it, it gives us confidence in order to develop more of the experience that we appreciate and to be useful for us and for people around. Second things is appreciate yourself, and the third is to do the things that you always want to do and for yourself and for people around. By doing this, it creates satisfaction inside yourself. Choose the career you want, do the task that you like to do, build the career that you like to do, and do the good things, being useful for people around you is all the things that can help to add more meaning to your life. Now I think I come to the final slide that I have to share with you. So this would be my advice to you. I keep it into 3D to let you remember and hopefully understand to keep it for yourself. So the first D is to discover. So I would like to encourage you to keep discovering new things, doing new job, taking new tasks, learning new knowledge, reading new book, keep up with the trend. You know, today we're talking about green, digital, the future of job, and this really something that you as a student and young professional should really keep up to the trend in order to understand what is coming and how to be prepared to be ready for it. Second thing is to do. I think by catch well, Mr. SOK Narin said earlier that students should do a lot of internship in order to gain practical experience in order to be ready even before you finish study. And I fully agree with him. For me, students should stop complaining that you don't have experience at the end of your study, but start by applying for internship, doing some volunteer or even part-time. Do anything you can catch the opportunity to build your professional experience in order to be sure that you have enough insight about life, about work, in order to equip yourself to be ready with more experience when you finish your study. And in this concept also, I would like you to remember that please do put effort to do your best. I see many people said, I want to try to do this and that. And I would like to tell you all students, please don't try. Please don't try to do, but please put all the effort to do it. And the third point would be to keep developing your experience. Even if you already have some experience, you're already working right now, I would like you to really continue to see challenge and obstacle as the opportunity to help you improve. For me, when I look back, I always appreciate the years where I have the most problem to solve in my work or my life. Those years that I have a lot of problem to solve make me become stronger. A year that less problem, it's a year of less experience for me. So imagine if you spend a year to work without any difficulty to overcome. I would say your year was not as meaningful as the year that that you need to have a lot of problems to solve, to overcome, so that at the end of the year, you feel so heavy, you feel there's a lot of things going on, but at the end, you feel so satisfied because you have done a lot of things, you have learned new skill, you have developed your ability to be stronger, to deal with more difficult problem later on that you may face. So this is all about life, to keep discovering, to keep doing, and it's never too early to start doing, and to keep developing and learning new experience to make sure that you can build and progress your competency and your skill to be ready to grow yourself to the next level. So I think this is all about my point that I want to quickly share with you today. So if there is still some time, so I can welcome a question from students. Back to you, Ratna.
Thank you, Wong. Thank you for your presentation. Liz, do you want to open for some Q&As, or do you want to proceed to the next session?
Thank you so much, Narath. It was very interesting. Unfortunately, we are running beyond time, but I do want to invite all the students to check out your profile on the platform. For those who are not yet on the platform, you can follow EuroCham through social media and register. And there is a possibility to have a nice chat with Mr. Narath, and also to request for a one-on-one meeting, video conference meeting. And also we will see with Mr. Narath, because it's very, very interesting. And I think these are really key points, and we need more time. We will see if later this week or next week we can organize through this platform a private session. Is that fine for you, Mr. Narath?
It's perfect for me, thank you.
Okay, that's perfect. Then we can move to the next session. So as Mr. Narath was saying, while most of you are still, in your school to work journey, our next guests have already traced an impressive career path. I invite you for this last session to relax and to listen to our next stories full of experiences, achievements, mistakes, fears, sometimes also failures, a lot of innovation that led them throughout their career and transformed them into dynamic entrepreneurs and leaders. So it's an absolute pleasure to share the screen with our tech master, His Excellency Ian Richards. We also have Ms. Tian, who, after slaying it successfully in Wall Street, in the financial hub, started her own company here in Cambodia, and is becoming actually a financial innovator and influencer. And then we will also have Mr. Sopa, who is a bank pioneer and has over a decade of leadership and positive change experience. So without further ado, I would like to invite you to share your stories and just tell us how and where do we start from here. So His Excellency, you may have the floor.
So thank you, Liz, and just want to say that it's a pleasure to be here. For the storytelling session, I usually tell a certain story about my life, but it's been told many times, and so today I'm going to try something different. So I still am going to tell from my background, where I was born, where I was studied, but during the story, I want to open the curtain and to show all the students to the background story about my life. And some of these background story is not going to be the same as it's what's been reported. It's going to be tackling a lot of myths about entrepreneurship, about success, about doubt, about feeling, about insecurity. And so I think we're all going to enjoy this session, I hope. So to begin with, I was born in Cambodia. I actually studied in, for those that live in Phnom Penh, you would know Chatumok. So I studied in Chatumok from grade 1 to grade 7. My biggest break in life is that I was able to continue my study in Canada, starting from grade 8, finished my high school there, and then I did my bachelor degree in Canada in mechanical engineering, and I continue on to do my master. And so those are my education background. So first myth, a lot of people think that I'm very good at math. That's why I'm going to engineering and going to master program in business and whatnot. The truth is I was never been the top student in my class. Never been. I'm consistently, I'm really good at school, but I'm never like the top 3. I'm like top 5, top 10 sort of thing. So I'm never the standout in class. So in terms of, some of the great entrepreneurs, they have this great story about I'm the top of the class since grade 1, never fail, like all this sort of thing. That's not true. I almost failed my math class in my second year university, partly because, like a lot of young students, I moved out of my house when I was 17 to continue my study. And during my second year, I have too much fun. And I remember getting a paper bag from my midterm, and it showed as 47. So I turned to my friend and asked, "Hey, is it 47 out of 50 or 47 out of 60?" He's like, "No, man, it's 47%." And then the teacher, the next moment, would write on the board the lowest mark, and that is 47. So I literally got the lowest mark in my entire engineering class. So it was definitely my my down moment. I can laugh about it now, but I almost break down and cry during that moment. And so never the top student, sure. And then I continued my master, and when I finished my engineering degree, I didn't finish with 4.0 GPA or anything like that. I did pretty well, but not great. But I continued my master, and then I ended up doing well in my master's. So those are my education background. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about my work experience. I think that also runs parallel to my education. When I was very young, I was very fortunate to have really one focus. Since I can remember, my biggest goal in life, and it haven't changed, is that I want to be the most successful entrepreneur. And it's crazy that for me, when I was a kid, I have that feeling already. And so when I was growing up, I have this thought and this goal that never changed. I see a lot of people would have really big dreams. And for whatever reason, maybe the family, maybe the friends, maybe the teachers tell them they can't do it and they change. Since I was a kid, I always have that dream about being the best entrepreneur, and I've been striving to achieve that. And so, because I have that, even when I was young, I kind of dabble into business. Really funny stories. This I don't even remember, but my mom would tell me that when I was a kid, I would bring sticker to school to sell, and then I would sell those sticker, and then I would buy marble, sell those marble. I would buy cards that we can sell, and I keep doing that since I was a kid. When I go to university, there's a program called Junior Achievement where they get a group of students to build a company. So I did that for 3 years. And then when I get to university, I worked 3 jobs. And I worked 3 jobs, not at the same time, to fund my education and to continue. And then during my last year at university, I started my first startup. So long story short, I have been working my entire life. But I want to tackle a myth as well for a lot of people that look at me today or know me today. Everyone that look at me today, I guarantee you, 90% of them will think that I was born with silver spoon, which means I was born, in a privileged family. My family, so my dad's doing well, my mom's, my grandpa. The reality is, since I was born, my family, when I was growing up, either middle class or lower middle class, depending on the year. And when I was 17, I stopped taking any money from my family. I actually moved out completely. So to continue my education, I actually borrow a bank loan. So for those of you that never borrow a bank loan to study, you're already ahead of me while we're at the same age. So I borrow a bank loan to study, and then I work to pay off my loan and also to save up to invest. And Tien going to hate me when I say this because it goes against any financial advice ever. So for my leftover loan, I actually put all of it into one company. because I really believe in it. You know, I actually believe in the company. I did a lot of study. I did a lot of research. So I put into the company that called Shopify when it was worth around $70 a share. And so that was my second biggest break. My first biggest break is able to go to Canada, continue my education. This is my second biggest break. So I actually invest when it was $70 a share. It went up to around 1,400 when I sell out. Now it's at 2,000. So in life, a lot of people will think that successful people get lucky, and some of them are for sure. But there are a lot more that came from the exact same background that a lot of the audience, people in the audience, are listening right now. Like I mentioned, grew up in a lower middle class, go to public school when I was in Cambodia, public school when I was in Canada, really working to pay off my bills and to pay it off. And then I got quote unquote lucky a couple of times. And that's kind of what bring me in today. And when I really look back into my life, I really love this quote that I've heard. And that is talking about luck. They said luck is a combination of opportunity and preparation. A lot of people have a lot of opportunity came by. The biggest question is, are you lucky enough to grab it? Because that will require preparation. And to go along with that quote, that's another beautiful quote, and I'm gonna leave you off with this beautiful quote that I will very inspired to hear, and that is, if you were born poor, that's not your fault, but if you were to die poor, that's definitely on your shoulder. So there's no one to blame other than yourself. So I want to encourage you guys, if you see big entrepreneur out there that you think you cannot get there because of your current situation, think again. A lot of the successful entrepreneurs that I met today came from nothing. And I think Bong Tien know a lot of them too that came from nothing. That is our fellow, our friends. And one of them is being myself, that I grow up with empty-handed, pay for my education, pay for my own business. And so if I can do it, and I'm not even the top student, you guys can do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So it's really about taking ownership of everything that you are doing and doing it with passion. So thank you so much. So I will invite Ms. Tien to share her story as well.
Great, thank you. And I'm so glad that I'm on this panel with both Richard and Sopa. Both are my dear friends, and both whom I really, really adore as people and look up to as well. So my name is Tien. I moved to Cambodia almost 8 years ago, and have been working here over the past 8 years, but grew up in the United States. So I was born in a refugee camp in Thailand, and when my family was, when I was almost a year old, we moved to the US. And I also grew up in a refugee family, and my parents didn't have more than middle school education, and grew up in the public schools in the US. It was never my big dream to become a successful entrepreneur or to do anything grand in life. Other than that, I really wanted to live a life that was impactful, and that things that I worked on made a difference in society. And so there are two main things that kind of shaped what happened in my life. When I was younger, my family lived in South Dakota, in a small town where we were the only Asian people in town. And I became friends with the bankers that my parents worked with, and fell in love with banking, and decided at a very young age, when I grew up, I wanted to work for a bank. And then the next thing was, when I was in high school, I watched a show called Felicity about a woman who moved to New York City and kind of found herself there. So two things in my life: I wanted to be a banker, and I wanted to live in New York City. And so when I graduated from university, while I was in college, I did a lot of internships. So every summer I worked at an internship for 3 summers at a telecommunications company called Quest, and 2 summers for the Federal Reserve Bank of the Federal Reserve Bank. And so both internships gave me a lot of skills that a lot of the college students didn't focus on, because sometimes when you're a student, you really want to get the best grades possible. But I also wasn't a top student. I went to university on a full scholarship, but I was never the top student in my class. But what I did was work really hard and built up my skills. Took opportunities in organizations. So when I was in school, I ran the Asian Club, and I joined a lot of different events so that I became versed in different student organizations in school. But outside of school, I worked. When I wasn't going to school, I worked. On the weekdays, I worked in internships, and on the weekends I worked for my family business. And so I spent all of my time outside of education working and building myself up. So when I graduated from college, I had 3 different job offers. The job offer I ended up taking, I was one of 300 candidates, and I was the one that was chosen for that position. I saw a poll earlier, and it said, what is the most important skill that employers looked for? And the answer was soft skills. And I really think that that was the thing that gave me the position that I ended up winning in the end, because there were a lot of highly qualified people from really good schools with great track records. But because I was so active in other things with internships and with clubs, I was the one who stood out as a person they ended up choosing. I may not have been the smartest one, but I think that I demonstrated that I worked the hardest, and I'm able to work with lots of different people. And so I started working as an analyst and working really long hours, 70, 80 hours a week, grueling schedule. But I was really lucky to work for really good people. And in 2008, 5 years into my career, I was moved to New York City. So my second dream was met, and the company moved me to New York City, and we managed the most complex transactions with the most important clients of the bank. And I was so happy I got my dream job and I got to work in my dream city. It was amazing, but I worked all the time. And I would also say that when you get out of school, you should try to work for the best company that you can get into, because I was really lucky that I worked for really good companies and really good bosses who worked me really hard. But that company gives you the foundation to train you up to be a really good professional. And so you really build a mindset of risk management, of organizational governance, of how you work with other people, how you communicate, how you network. And so find the best job you can when you come out of school. Don't worry about money. I chose the job that paid me the most, but that gave me the best opportunity to set me up for the future. 8 years ago, I decided to take a year off and go on a sabbatical and travel around the world after working for 80 hours a week for over 10 years of my career. And I've never lived in Cambodia, but my parents are from here, and I really wanted to understand family and culture and history. So I came to study for 3 months, and now to visit for 3 months, and then I decided to stay for a year. I joined a great bank called ANZ Royal, where I met the acquaintance of wonderful colleagues like Sopa, and really built out my network in Cambodia. And then 2 years ago, I left the bank and I started an investment advisory company doing corporate finance advisory and M&A. And it's been a wonderful journey. I've learned a lot through the process, but I've also met a lot of people. But I think that the key takeaway I'd like to give everybody from my presentation is that when you're thinking about your career, don't always chase money, chase opportunity and chase experience, and work with the best mentors that you could learn from. And sometimes it's really hard, and sometimes your best mentors will work you very hard, but those are the people that you want to learn from, because they will teach you a lot of very important lessons in life and in work. And I'm really thankful that sometimes work was really hard, but I worked for people who cared a lot about me, and they really groomed me up and taught me all of the things that I need to be successful in life. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much. So yeah, it's about also, you know, this human part, you know, like this relationship that you built up throughout your career, and being open to be inspired. I mean, you were inspired by the TV show in the beginning, very young, you were, you know, focused, and also it's never too young to really, you know, work hard and to grasp every opportunity. So thank you so much. And then I will leave the word to Mr. Sopa, our bank pioneer.
Good evening already to everyone. So thank you for having me in the session. I feel like I'm here to share the story, but to be very honest, I feel I learned a lot throughout the session. Quite an inspiring story from Tien and also His Excellency Richard. So allow me to share my story, which will be a bit different to Tien and His Excellency Richard, on the fact that I grew up local and has always been local in Cambodia. I grew up in a fairly not wealthy family in Kandar province, where I spent my childhood until I finished high school. Then I made my way, very difficult way, to Phnom Penh to pursue my study at university, back then National University of Management. It wasn't easy, as I said, in Phnom Penh. I didn't know anyone in Phnom Penh. My family, as I said, it's not a wealthy family, so my dad and mom has to earn hard to pay for my living in Phnom Penh. Then upon finishing my school in 2002, I got my first job in banking, directly to banking. So it was AC Lida Bank back then. I returned back to province, back then Kampong Speu province. I worked for AC Lida for 3 years. Then I joined a new bank set up in Cambodia, back then ANZ Royal in 2005. Throughout my career in ANZ, I worked through from a very junior role toward the last role that I worked as an executive in ANZ. But the story is that when I joined ANZ, again, I think for most of you who are a young generation today, I think you are fortunate enough that English probably already quite advanced for most of you. When I started work at ANZ, my English was still quite poor. So I decided to pursue my study at MBA level so that I can enhance. I think some of our speakers share the fact that it is important to broaden your perspective and continue the learning. That's, for me, I think it's the action that I decided to pursue my MBA in finance. That way I start to pick up my English and also broaden the perspective. And that's where I also start to feel that, you know, job progression is there. So my first job was very junior, including some of the role, including messenger, for example. That was my first job when I did the job. Then after spending 11 years at ANZ, I you know, that's where I met Tien, for example, as one of my colleagues back then. 11 years to be exact, I decided to join this newly established bank in 2016, being BRED Bank Cambodia, a bank from France with 100 years history. And in Cambodia, we are only here for 4 years. Notably changing from, I think if you all don't know ANZ, today is J Trust Royal, but previously it was ANZ Royal. So in ANZ, I am the Deputy CEO of the bank. Mainly, I run all the sale and business development for the bank, covering from retail individual client to SME, local corporate, and international company. Besides working in the bank, I also used to be a board member of International School of Phnom Penh, and is currently also a board of director of an insurance company. So the journey being here, I think it's a bit different from His Excellency Richard and Tien, who are growing up international, staying in Canada and US. For me, it was fortunate enough to come to Phnom Penh to study, but the journey of progress and the success that I had to see come through a number of determination, and that should be an important factor that I would like to advise to some of you who are new, looking for a job, and really want to progress through your journey. Before I go to that, allow me to quickly talk a bit on BRED Bank Cambodia. So today we are 9 branches, still quite small. I think most of you probably don't know us yet. We exist in Phnom Penh, Bat Nambong, Siem Reap. We continue to open new branches. I think in Phnom Penh we are fairly known now because we are from France. We are a member of EuroCham. Back a bit to the topic of SDG, Sustainable Development Goal. I think one of the topic is around gender balance and diversity. To be exact, our staff today is around 60% are female. At executive level, we have a 50-50 balance of male and female, for example. We believe very much in diversity and being balanced in our workforce. On customer side, so as a bank, what do? We collect money, we lend money. As a bank, in general, we lend money based on security or based on cash flow of the client. BRED Bank being one of the international banking group, not only we look at all this, but sustainable financing, where we look beyond that, including, in most of our lending transaction, we do what we call environmental checklist to our clients. That just to give you a bit of how BRED Bank position ourselves to support, I think, mainly the topic that we are talking today. So for fresh graduate or any of you, I mean, in terms of your choice of career, or what do you want to do? What advice should I give? For me, again, I grew up poor, working hard, studying hard, alongside, just to come back a bit on my study when I did my MBA degree. Back then, I just married, getting first baby and then getting second baby, going to study at night. It was very difficult to balance work, to balance family, but to balance study. You already know there are so many assignments to do for the learning part. But then back to grade 8, for all of you, I mean, there will be a choice whether you want to run business or you want to start a career as you want. When I see the business, for me, I think one word I would have to say, it's never be too late. I'm not very good at business, but as I said, I do run and support clients to grow their business. And alongside, when we set up BRED Bank Cambodia, we are new to the market, which already there are about 50 banks in the market. And when we come here, why are you coming here? We've been proving that our focus, our resilience, our dedication, and all this, I think one of the fundamental facts is that we have very good people and very good diversity in our team. On career-wise, I mean, if it's the career, Tien already mentioned to the fact that, don't choose just purely financial. Choose a company that will give you the opportunity to learn and growth. There are some people who are moving a company for a few dollars different. That's what I've seen. But it is important to know which place will give you long-term growth. There's always people always you with more expensive price. But if it's not the right company for you to work, I mean, will have a difficult time as you progress through. Second, do your best. I mean, in any work you do your best. I mean, trying to really deliver the result to the company. Do not, I mean, the new generation, I just use the word drama. There are some people who feel they are doing good, but as a business leader, for me, I look at the result and outcome. So if you deliver the result, that's where it should be. Third, develop yourself. It's always important to learn new things, diversify your skill beyond just academic focus. And the last part I would have to say, take some volunteer work, take some community work. It builds your foundation to other bigger work. So I shared with you earlier, I used to be a board member at ISPP, one of the high regard international school here. It was actually for free for 2 years. And that built up a foundation for me to take up other board role that I am currently holding. So build up the experience, build up the exposure. I coming to an end now. My last point would be, I think, one of the success as a people and human. Please also stay healthy. There are some people that are focusing so much on work or a certain thing, losing the fact that when you are young, you are healthy, you are quite powerful. But as you grow older a bit to a certain age, you need to balance your health. So do some sport. And now with the situation of COVID and on, I think it may be useful to ensure that we are staying healthy. So I finish here. Stay safe to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So it's all about as well, upskilling yourself, continue learning, and keep this determination in mind, see the bigger, picture, and take care of your physical and mental health. So thank you so much. So I see that we are quite over time. So I think that, I mean, I saw some reactions from, you know, these young students. I just wanted to ask the panel if I can do one round of questions, and then we will finalize. And of course, you will have the opportunity to also, you know, engage further on the platform, or if you have other obligations, and we just close it here. So let me know if I can take, and in the meantime, if you have questions in the public, you can start, you know, putting them in the chat. So is it okay if we do one round of questions?
All good for me.
Okay, great. So this is the moment. This is really, I saw that a lot of people, you know, were very inspired. So if you have a question, like they are here now, and they are open to, you know, share their knowledge at the same time. So I see there are no questions yet. So maybe I will start with, you know, a question. I want to know, okay, so they're students. I think from a very young age, you were already determined. So what is it that they should be doing now that will be essential, you know, later, and they will be grateful for? What is it, whether it is now we have a lot of technology, it's an app, it is a book, it's an author, it's an influencer, it's a habit, you know, something in your hygiene, waking up early, you know, like what is this thing that will keep them consistent and will lead them to success? I'm asking this to the three of you, so maybe you can start with His Excellency.
Yeah, great questions. I think I'll mention what you should do and what you shouldn't do. So I think what you should do is kind of really ask yourself, dig deep, and discover what your meaning of life for you. Does that mean doing a lot for the people? Does that mean making money? Is it making money is just a medium to achieve a goal? Whatever it is, I think the young people need to understand that the goal that they are trying to achieve are not all the same, and the path to get there is going to be hard. I think there's a lot of media attention that making entrepreneurship look easy. But the reality is there's a lot of sacrifice that you need to make. Over the past 5 years, I haven't taken one trip with my family while they go on vacation. Like those sort of sacrifice are not being shown, and I think there's a lot more headaches and heartache with entrepreneurship than what people can allude to. So be ready to face the hard journey if that's what you choose to do. But the reality that I found out later in life too is that no matter which goal you pick, you're also going to have a big problem to solve. So might as well pick a problem or pick a goal that is so far away that if you actually manage to hit it, you're going to be the most proudest of yourself. What I wouldn't recommend you guys are doing is be careful with a lot of these quote unquote training seminar that you will see. There's a lot of fake guru out there that definitely trying to get you to pay large amount of money for those sort of seminars. So please be careful. I've seen a lot of my friends that fall into those traps. If you really need to take a look into those qualifications, like if somebody willing to teach you, look, first of all, it's very simple. If somebody making millions and millions and millions of dollars already, why would they charge you for this seminar? Like people like Bong Tian, like Monsapa, they come here for free, speaking, sharing advice. Because they are successful in their own right, there's no need to charge you for this sort of thing. So really be careful when you go to there. What I've seen a lot of people is those fake guru, their source of income is charging from you. So be really careful, take a look at the background, and really understand who they are and what their intention is, and keep going forward. When you hit a really hardship, just know that when you finish that, there's going to be more to come. But at the end of it all, you're going to appreciate the journey more than the actual result. Thank you.
Okay, I guess maybe I'll go next. So I think that we should always stay curious. And so I am an obsessive Googler. So I Google all day long because I'm always wondering about things. How do they work, or what's happening, or like what's the definition of this? I learned a new word. And when I was younger, I was really curious about food. And so I watched food shows all the time. But you know, because of that, like I'm able to connect with a lot of people through my love for food. And now that I'm older, I've taken an interest in BTS, which is probably outside of my age demographic. But it's a lot of fun. But it also gives me something different outside of my regular life that I can enjoy and converse with people about. And so sometimes you don't always have to be in like so serious all the time. It's good to be curious all the time and learn about different things. And it's a good way to connect with people who are outside of your immediate circle as well.
I guess it's my turn, but Liz, if you don't mind, repeat your question again. I mean, I seem to lost a bit.
Yeah, no problem. I just asked well, I will also extend it to do the same as Richard did. What are the do's and don'ts that you can do now as a student to later ensure that, you know, you have a sustainable career and, you know, a happy career?
Okay, my answer would only be short to the do, I would have to say. And I think some of our speaker already say, do what you like, I mean, and don't do what you don't like. When I was a childhood, my parents always talked to me, be a doctor. You know, I went to doctors, not doctor back then. It was a pharmacy. It was nurse school for almost 1 year that I decided that it's not for me. So I quit the school and then come to business class. That was a choice. So and I never regret that. So my advice is do what you like.
That's great. So I see we have a few questions. I will try to put them a little bit together because I see that, you know, I'm trying to take into account the time, but we do have some questions. So I saw a really good question here. I'm going to start with the first one. So we talk about, you know, doing. We talk about the opportunities that you can have by doing internships, but at the same time, you know, we don't have the same financial resources. There exist unpaid internships, but while you are using your time, and this is actually a conflict I had myself being a student, is that, okay, great opportunity, unpaid internship, but who's going to pay, you know, my tuition fee next year, right? And as long as I'm doing this unpaid internship, I don't have the time to, you know, do something that is maybe less into my field, but would at least, you know, ensure this financial, you know, resources to continue. So it's about like, okay, now, and the person also talks about, you know, the pandemic, and, you know, it's a very vulnerable time. Like, what would be an advice, you know, right now to continue to be on this path of, you know, gaining experience, but at the same time, what are the solutions that you could find when you have like limited resources? And then also, and I think, you know, these resources, lack of resources, is definitely present among university students because you're still learning, and it's not only financial, but it's also, you know, experience. And I love the second question saying that, okay, I'm a freshman, I do not have that experience, but would you, you know, could I start my company? Do I need to have a certain degree or a certain knowledge? But as a young freshman, is it possible to you know, engage and start a startup? So I'm going to maybe, so the first question about you know, the paid internships is for Ms. Tien, and then for the startup, I would like maybe for His Excellency Richard to answer, and also Mr. Sopa, as he is, you know, working for a bank, and I guess that you also meet a lot of young entrepreneurs that are coming for loans or, you know, in need of those financial resources.
Okay, thank you for the question. So regarding the internships, I was really lucky in that when I graduated from high school, I got into a program that trained people for the corporate life. And so that program matched me up with companies to give me an internship, and they paid me a wage. And on the weekends, the program also gave me training on how to network and how to dress and how to communicate. And so I think that maybe we would benefit from having a program like that here too for young people, to prepare them to enter the workforce. And so maybe a project like a fun project for me to volunteer for in the future. But I think that companies, there are companies who are looking for great talent to join, right? And some companies are willing to pay a small stipend for interns to come work for them. And so, look for those companies, and I think it's okay to ask for a stipend to be an intern. And so if you find a company that you really, really want to work for, speak to their HR team and ask them if they could pay you a small stipend so that you can at least manage your cost of living as a student.
Okay, I'll answer my question. But before I answer my question, I'd like to just touch on, I agree with Bong Tien, I don't believe in unpaid internship. And for my company, we always pay internship, even if they ask you to come work for free. Anyway, to the question of building the startup. Look, for me, I think there are not the right time to do a startup. It's all depend on you, depend on your story. The bottom line is, are you going to be able to build a product or a service that somebody's going to pay for it? And if you can answer that question and it's a yes, then just do it. It doesn't matter if you're in school or when you're not in school. I started my first startup when I was in school, and it failed horribly. And then I started my second startup, and then it kind of went okay and good. And now I'm on to my third startup that is doing quite well. And so, you're never going to strike it the first time you do it. But every failure that you have, you're going to learn a lot from it. And so I think you got to ask yourself too, when you do all these experience or startup or internship or any job experience, is the simple question is, are you trying to make money or are you trying to learn? For me, I kind of make it clear that before I turn 30, I'm only going to pick up job or experience or opportunity that's going to give me a lot of learning opportunity. And then only after I'm 30, then I'm going to start taking a look at opportunity that's going to give me financial support. And so, but it just happened the way that, doing things that I love, doing things that give me a learning opportunity, just happened to give me a lot of financial support and sustainability too. So, the old saying come true. As you get older, you find out more of it actually more true than not. And when Bong Sapa was mentioned, do what you love, do what you like. Some of you students out there might thinking in your head like, oh, but how can I feed my family? How can I support my family? The truth is, if you're really good at doing what you like and doing what you love, money will find a way to come to you. Like, I really believe that. I never think about money as my first deciding factor, and I never have any financial issue yet. And so I think it just dedicating yourself, pushing yourself hard, and the money will come. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, His Excellency Richard. Thank you also, Liz. I think it's a question, a hard one for me, because when we talk about startup, even though I am quite good in financing and lending money to company, I'm very scared myself to start up everything, especially on the business side. So business mindset is quite scary for me, but I try to see this from what I see from the client perspective, which we've been working with. For me, I look at so I think the better way to see is to see it is, why would I lend money to the startup company? What criteria should we be looking at? First of all, I think the company should have a vision. What you are doing should be something that, alongside with the current trends of business development. I mean, you probably hear a lot about some company who are failing, some company who are succeeding. It's important for us to stay up to date to what is the current trends. So having a vision, having a clear plan, and I think nothing beyond execution. I think probably the bigger question for you, for people, is where can I find finance to start it? Finally, you will still need to start with some resources. But for me, I think I see the idea and vision and plan as a core principal factor to really start any small business you would want. And finally, I mean, to come to a bank, for example, at the starting point, also quite difficult. Not until you prove yourself. I mean, I'm being honest here. I mean, to say, okay, I set up a good business plan for a business. Can I come to the bank for money? The bank would say, okay. So for you, it's also, you know, starting up a bit, and maybe like His Excellency Richard mentioned, I mean, maybe you learn from failure, and one upon a time, when time is coming, you would probably moving, like sometimes it's difficult to start. I think one of the people which we already see here, Tien, was starting up her business last 2 years. As she mentioned, I was quite inspired on how she decided to move from a very secure job in banking and then to start up something quite different. So follow what you want to do and really kickstart what you see it's going to benefit to you. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I see 2 more questions, but I'm just going to transform them in a last, you know, message. Before we will, I will close it later. Can you just very briefly, for someone that, you know, wants to land her or his first job, like give them this one phrase, this one thing of, okay, this will, you know, give you the best chances or will really help you to get this job. And then secondly, today, what motivates you to continue? You have already, you know, reached a certain level, which we're all inspired by, but I'm sure you still have a lot of ambitions. What keeps you motivated?
If you don't mind, I may want to start this time. I think his Professor Narath shared to us earlier his slide of presentation, how to land a job, what to do in terms of, you know, probably I think there's no other way to replace that guideline, which I find it quite helpful and useful. That's probably from me in terms of where you can land a job. Need to be sure you develop yourself, need to be sure you try to apply, need to be sure you prepare for the interview. That's the only way from my perspective. For me, what inspired me as a person is always learning. It is always people. I think it's important to surround yourself with the right people, whether they are in your workplace or outside the workplace, especially new generation. I mean, people tend to, I mean, if you go with a wrong group of friends, you are in a wrong group of friends. For me, even though, I mean, probably some people ask me where am I graduated when I speak my English. I say never. It has always been growing local. But I surround myself with a lot of international people and international friends, for example. That's number one. Number two, family. For me, very family man. As I said earlier, I have 3 beautiful daughters and growing up quite well. What inspired me is seeing them growing and challenging me every single day.
I can go next. To land your job, I think all the speakers kind of mentioned the different factors already, and I agree with all of them. But just keep in mind, you gotta stand out in, you know, the job or in the position or in your age group. You gotta stand out, and doing something extraordinary will make you stand out. And from personally, what I did as an engineer, I figured that, hey, look, if I could create a patent, inventing a new technology and then register my patent in the US, yeah, that's going to be shine on my resume. And so that's what I did. Through my second startup, me and a couple of other engineers get together and we invented this new technology related to explosive clearance. And we got approved the patent in the US, UK, and Canada. So you know, those will stand out in the resume. So ask yourself, what can you do to really shine among your age group? Because everyone's gonna try to look to get the best job, and the best job will want the best person. Are you that best person to get that job? And so that's the question you got to ask yourself. And what inspired me, I think it's come down to, for me, there's 2 answers to that. The first is my goal. I haven't reached my goal to be, you know, this great entrepreneur that that I can be proud of yet. So I'm still working hard to reach that goal. I think I'm very far away from getting there. The second is, it's come with a little bit patriotic view a little bit here, but I want to, my dream is to have technology export from Cambodia with made in Cambodian label. Like that has always been my dream for so long. And so, I'm working hard to make sure that we can invent and build new technology that we can ship all around the world, and it will have made in Cambodia stamp. I've been saying this for the past 10 years, but Cambodia, people know Cambodia for two reasons: Pol Pot and Uncle Wat. Let the world know us, that we have the brain for the tech, we have the brain for business, we have the brain to make impact on the world, and so that's what inspired me to go forward, because I have a big dream that one day people will know Cambodia for many other great reasons, and I hope to be one of the small piece that will get that to happen.
Okay, so to answer the first question about for somebody who really wants to land that job, one of the previous panelists, Stephen Patterson, is a good friend of mine, and he introduced me to a show, this platform called Masterclass. And so I watched the Masterclass on Bob Iger, who's the CEO of Walt Disney. And one of the things he said was that one of the best employees he ever hired was somebody that he rejected. And after that, he gave that person some advice on what he needed to do to improve himself. And actually, he gives that advice to a lot of different people. But this one person was probably one of the few people who actually took his advice and then came back and applied again. And then he ended up hiring him, and he ended up being one of his best employees. And so my advice for people is, if you want a certain job, even if you don't get it the first time, ask them what you could do to improve yourself, or how could you better prepare so that next time when you apply again, whether it's for that company or a similar type of job with a different company, then you'll be better prepared for it. So that's my advice, job hunting. And then the second question is regarding what inspires you. So I think my inspiration changes all the time, and it changes as I get older, and I get inspired by traveling to different countries, and I get inspired by meeting lots of different types of people. But like both Sopa and Richard, I try to surround myself with people who are really interesting. And in life, like, you are the culmination of the people that you surround yourself with, and those are the people who inspire you. And I try to surround myself with people who are making a difference, who want to help, who are doing things that that make me really proud to be their friend. And I want to be just like them. And so I like being around people who inspire me.
Thank you so much. I feel so well surrounded. I feel very inspired. I'm so happy to be able to meet you. Thank you so much for sharing what everyone actually needs to hear, and demystifying all this, what we learn and see about entrepreneurship and about leadership. And it's really amazing to have you here share this, because it's so important to also prepare the next generation so that you're sure that they can build further on what you are all doing. So unfortunately, we will have to close today's session. I would like to thank everyone who participated. I would like to thank also the courageous people who stayed over time, who are still here listening to us. And I want to give the opportunity, because we didn't really get the opportunity to have Narath really giving these practical examples and guidelines. So I just sent a message in the chat. So we do have, this conference is taking place on a platform. Well, actually, I can share my screen so you can see. I will do it in front of you. I think it's always better to do it this way. Let me share my phone screen. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. So there is an app, B2Match. If you are already registered through the desktop, you can have easily access to this B2Match app. And this app gives you the opportunity to go to participants. I did just a search myself, so I will show just all the participants. Yes, so here you can see all the participants. I just put this filter. Okay, I'm gonna get there, right? See, I'm using this app so much. So you can see there are 158 people in this app. So if you wanna get in touch with one of the speakers, you can see here guests, speakers, panelists, and then you can go through them. Okay, so let's say that you want to speak to Mr. Narath and you want to meet him, or you want, to ask a question. You can just go to Mr. Narath, and then you will see you can request for a meeting. You can chat. We already, tested it before. Request for a meeting. You can write a message, and then Mr. Narath will, tell you, notify you he's available for a meeting. So please use this app. All our speakers are in there. This is really a great opportunity for the next 2 weeks to really, take in what you have learned today, and continue and go a little bit deeper, as we only had a limited time. We also invite the speakers to do the same. You can see the students. You can find your new talents for those who are looking for new talents, or you can talk also with other speakers. But for those that want to have like a session about really, okay, how do I find a job? For those who are now finalizing their studies or are looking for an internship, I really would like to organize a special session this week or next week. So if you are interested, just go to the app, search for me. So you can just search, well, I'm not gonna speaker. I'm just gonna reset the filters. Okay, then I will search. So I put my name in the chat, and you can see my name everywhere. And then just send me a message and just say that you want to be part of this meeting, and then I will coordinate with Mr. Narath, and we can then have like a full session where you can bring your CV. Please bring your CV. We can do simulations of interviews, and you can get this firsthand experience and get some guidelines from Mr. Narath. Yes, so as I was saying, we will close this session. We will be here again tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm just gonna share my screen so we can see someone else's screen. Okay. So we will be here tomorrow again. We will talk about this time sustainable development goals. We will still link it to employability, career opportunities, but we will really talk about the future of Cambodia, your future, because everything we're doing now has a positive or a negative impact for the future. So I think it's very important to stay in touch with people that are making decisions right now, who are moving things, and that can give you the best advice possible to be part of it. So I don't know if my colleagues can share the screen, so I can just go over maybe some more information about EuroCham. So I know some of you don't yet have a business, but I feel that we have a lot of future, entrepreneurs, or at least, business leaders. So as a Chamber of Commerce, we really, bring together small companies, larger companies, and we really help them to grow, to network, to find opportunities, here in Cambodia and also outside of Cambodia. I mean, I saw quite some questions related to finding a job. Know that we have more than 200 companies that all are active in Cambodia, so make sure to go on our website. We do have a job page, so you can see some jobs on our website, and at the same time, go also to the GreenCap website, because they have specifically a job page for green jobs. Then we also are, of course, we're thankful for all the speakers. We're also thankful for our partners, which are leading companies, of which we have BRED Bank here today. And we have Smart. We also talked a little bit about Smart, during the conference. So thank you so much for them as well.